In the north of Vietnam is a city built between rivers and dotted with beautiful lakes. The streets are scattered with rainforest plants and trees. People cycle past wearing bright, colorful clothing and sell tropical fruit and leafy vegetables out of wide baskets. The air is full of the smell of steamed rice sizzling barbecue and the sound of motorbikes and taxis. This city is called Hanoi, the capital of this country, and it is home to a little girl named Lin. The houses in Hanoi are very tall and very narrow. Lin lived in a very tall, narrow house painted deep yellow and ringed with potted plants. Below her there was a dress shop, and Lin was friends with the lady who sewed the beautiful dresses by hand. Together they would sit drinking tea and talking. It was one summer night that our story takes place. Lin lay on her bed, tossing and turning. She tried counting backwards she tried drinking some fresh, cool water. She even took a deep breath into her belly and held it until she couldn't hold it anymore and had to let it out. It didn't matter what she did, she could not get to sleep. So she sat up and swung her legs over the bed. Her bare feet touched the smooth tile floor. She walled her toes against it. Then she stood up and walked over to her window. It was a French window with two long, narrow doors with glass that led onto a little balcony. She opened up the doors and stepped out onto the balcony. The warm, sticky air pressed against her face as she scoured the night sky. There were no stars tonight. Instead, the sky was covered by a thick cloud lanide. She wished she could go to sleep. Then she remembered a trick that her mother had told her. If she lit a candle and asked for sleep, it would come. Lin hurried back inside and searched for a candle. She opened her drawers, looked behind her bedside table, and even inside her mother's shoe boxes, finally under her bed, she found a small bright red candle. She scooped it up and carried it to the balcony. She was just placing it down when she realized she didn't know how to light it. Annoyed, she picked the candle up and threw it off the balcony all the time, thinking how unfair it was that she couldn't sleep. She turned her back on the night and was just about to go inside when she felt a curious tingling feeling moving through the air. It was as if a cool, busy wind was blowing on the back of her neck. Lin turned around and her mouth fell open. There, floating in the air, was a glittering red and gold dragon. Now this was a Vietnamese dragon. Its body was long, thin and flat like a snake. Its kind face was fringed with magnificent eyebrows, a pointed beard and big green eyes. It didn't need wings to fly, it just swished its body from side to side like a Nile, swimming in the sea. Lin felt herself taking a deep breath just looking at the beautiful creature. Then he spoke to her. His voice was musical and twinkly. Lin imagined that it must be what starlight sounded like, but his words were sad words. The dragon apologized. He knew she had summoned him to help her sleep, but he could do no such thing. Lin laughed. She couldn't remember summoning him. So the dragon explained that when children throw a red offering into the night and wish for sleep, he must come and help them. You see, he was the sleep dragon. He shook his head sadly. Usually, he could help any child get to sleep by using his special sleep pillow and soothing song. But tonight, there was nothing he could do. He had lost the pillow. He had searched everywhere, but had not found it. All the children that needed him tonight and every night after would be disappointed. Lynn felt a great rush of caring sweep over her for the sleep dragon. She rushed to her bed and picked up her own pillow. She offered it to the dragon to use instead, but the dragon smiled. A sleep pillow is a special pillow that must be sewn together at the temple on top of Dragon Mountain, and no dragon can sew. But Lynn's face lit up. She knew exactly how to sew a pillow. She looked at the dragon wide-eyed and told him she would help him. Make a new pillow. The dragon looked at her and he knew she could do it. Then a glimmer of gold shimmered all through his body. It made the air tingle and sparkle and swish. She laughed as he circled through the air in excitement. Then he helped her sea owl climb up onto his back. His scales felt cool and refreshing. Lynn let her fingers slide along them and felt a sense of happiness spill her heart. Then, with a final glitter, the dragon took off and blew into the night as the air rushed past them. Lynn felt her smile stretching wider and wider across her face below them. Hanoi was getting smaller and smaller. She watched delighted. She felt the wind banning her hair out behind her, and swirling against her warm skin, they climbed higher and closer to the grey cloud until it was right above them. The dragon wriggled around to tell her they were going through the cloud and not to be afraid. But Lynn wasn't afraid. Not at all. They broke into the cloud cover. It pressed against Lynn like 1,000 tiny droplets of gold water. She pulled in a deep breath and felt the cold fill her lungs. The night disappeared, and all she could see was thick, swirling grey. She held on to the dragon and bowed her head close to his body. Then all of a sudden the clouds stopped. They burst out into the most beautiful sight Lynn had ever seen below her. The clouds, they suspended like a vast grey blanket above them. The endless night sky stretched out clear and sparkling with stars that Lynn had never seen before. In the distance, a huge column of fluffy white clouds rose up to reach the heavens. She let out a sigh of amazement. Once again, the dragon wriggled around. He told her that first they must find the purest white cloud for stuffing the pillow. Len nodded, and the dragon zoomed off towards the column of clouds as they travelled through the silent night. Lynn realised how peaceful it was to be there. Finally, they reached the column and the dragon circled it. Lynn's saw was tinged with pale pinks and blues. But then they came across a patch of the purest sparkling white. The dragon nodded. She reached out and used her hand to scoop up the white patch. The cloud felt like warm feathers in her hand, so different from the wet grey clouds she grabbed as much as she could before the dragon soared away. Both their hearts happy with their success. Len stuffed the cloud into her pyjama shirt to keep it safe. The dragon told her to hold on tight, and then he spiraled up to the heavens as he spiraled. Great golden sparks blew from his mouth, and he drew a perfect rectangle in the air with it. And when the sparks had faded, Lai saw a rectangle of night sky drifting down, as if it were a piece of fabric he had simply cut. She reached out her hand and caught the piece of night sky. It felt as smooth and cool as water. She let it run through her fingers before tucking it into her shirt with the cloud. Then the dragon turned down into a great dive towards the earth. Lin held on tight as they rushed back down through the grey cloud, but this time they popped out above the countryside. Small jagged mountains covered in rainforest and fringed with rice fields. Were beneath them they soared and spiraled down, and Lin noticed a tiny light flickering on top of a mountain. They drew closer and closer to the light. Then Lai saw it was the temple at the top of Dragon Mountain. They came to a stop at the temple. It was small and red, and inside it was lit with candlelight. Lin climbed off of the dragon and approached it. Inside was a single golden needle threaded with golden silk. She sat down and took out the night sky and the clouds and got to work. She worked quickly and peacefully, and as she swed, she remembered the beauty of the night sky. She could almost feel the light of the stars on her face as she worked. The dragon began to sing a slow, soothing song. Lin felt it wash over her like a wave on a calm sea. With every pull of the needle, Lin relaxed a little more until finally she finished the pillow. She held it out for the dragon to see, but she was so tired that it fell from her hands. The dragon smiled. He placed it under her head and laid her down on the ground. Her breathing became slow and rhythmic, and her heart was warm and full. She felt her eyelids sputter. Then she let herself drift into the sleep she had wanted so much. It was the kind of rest that would restore and refresh her. And she knew that when she woke up, she would be back in her own bed with her heart full of thanks for her magical night with the sleep dragon.